It's now time for morning meds.
Oh, Zine, and what we meds in this morning?
This morning we're meds in 1 year of Project Star.
Oh,
And I'm sure you've probably
I've,
seen some of the ads, the Project Star ads on socials.
yes.
Yeah, so we're in conversation with Safri Brown. She is the project director at Project Star. And for those who don't know, Project Star is the social transformation and renewal project. It's a social and economic development initiative created by the private sector organization of Jamaica in partnership with the Jamaica Constabulary Force. Exactly.
Yeah.
So I found it so, coincidental that you were talking about the JCF, and we're having this
That's
conversation.
how my spirit works.
Right. So
Yeah.
the project is driven by communities to bring about societal transformation through targeted interventions in under-resourced areas of Jamaica. Their recent round of fundraising totaled Jamaican 199.3 million, and they recently hosted a update event to share about the work they've been doing in Kingston, Savannah Lamar, and Maypen. So this morning, Miss Brown highlights the main points and the project's focus. Welcome to the Bridge 99 FM, Miss Brown. How are you?
Hi, morning everyone. I'm good. Thanks so much for having me.
Wonderful. 1 year, and a lot seems to have been achieved in that year. But before getting to the actual activities, tell us the concept. Who envisioned this concept, and how many participants, how many people came together to get this off the ground?
I mean, that's a huge question, right? STAR is a whole of society approach. So we really have everybody at the table, especially in terms of all the different sectors and players. But it really came out of a conversation that the Minister of National Security had with some leading members of civil society, including Keith Duncan, around the issues around crime and violence in communities. And so a decision was taken to really look at an intervention that could be led by the private sector that focused on how we reduce the levels of crime and violence. And obviously, STAR came about as a response to that, really looking at focusing on the root cause issues of crime and violence. And the root cause issues are social and economic ones. They're ones to do with social cohesion, to do with social protection, inclusion. They have to do with employment opportunities, entrepreneurship opportunities. And so we decided that we would focus the project on the social and economic programs, and less so on crime and violence. Reduced crime and violence, we expect would be a result of the program, but we really want to address from root causes. So this is where the project really sort of originated. And since then, we've had everybody come on board. We've had, government, ministries, departments, and agencies. We have lots of private sector partners, lots of sponsors. Civil society, NGOs, community-based organizations, and obviously the most important is the communities themselves who lead and drive Project Star at the local level.
All right. So some of these communities, I would imagine that it will be some of the most vulnerable communities. And it takes my mind to some initiatives such as the ZOSO, right, zones of special operations. It takes my mind to that. And so there's a collaboration with the JCF that Daniela alluded to earlier. How did you identify the communities that you would work with for this this incubation?
Right.
How did you do that?
So obviously, JCF, this is an initiative of the JCF and the private sector. We are in a number of communities where parts of our communities are ZOSOs and parts of them are not. STAR is, we sort of at the premise of the sort of basis of STAR is that we're data-driven, evidence-led, and community owned. And in terms of data, we use data in our decision-making, in our analysis and decision-making. And so to identify the communities we're working in, we actually looked at major crime data coming out of the police, and we also looked at VRI data, violence-related injury data. And from that, we were able to identify and rank communities based on their level of vulnerability. And so this is how we identified East Downtown Kingston, which is Rose Gardens and Parade Gardens, our area in Savannah Lamar that we're working, and Maypen West. And we also just announced on Friday our fourth community that we're going to be working in, which is Salt Spring in St. James. So we'll be starting in Salt Spring later on in the next quarter. and really starting to build on the work that's already been done in Salt Spring, which has had a couple years of some good interventions and work being done by the partners there.
Okay, Ms. Brown, can you tell us a little bit about some of the initiatives that have been coordinated? What type of activities have happened?
Well, I mean, quite a lot. We, as you know, as mentioned, we look at kind of social pillars and economic pillars. And again, the basis being everything is like sort of community led and community owned. So if we look, for example, at some of our social cohesion work, you know, we've done a lot of work with community sports and trying to bring community sports back in, both informal and formal. So street side football to proper opportunities for sort of netball training and football training. Really, we see sports as a pathway to engage and to activate, especially youth in programming. And what we found is that it's showing real success in terms of reaching some more of the at-risk youth, or what I call high-risk youth, who wouldn't automatically just come into one of the other more formal programs. You really engage them through sports. So, you know, we've had you know, over just about 1,500 people involved in our social interventions in the communities, primarily led by sports. We also have had a school feeding program in our basic schools. This we did specifically to address the issues of school attendance. What they'd identified the schools is that the attendance had dropped off since COVID, and parents were citing economic reasons why they couldn't send their children back to school, because it was cheaper just to feed them at home than to send them and put them on the food program. So we supported that with our partners, Mussons and Rainforests. We were able to see in one school as much of a 34% increase in school attendance.
Wow.
And this is sustained increase that we're seeing.
For sure.
We also do a lot of work around parenting. And so again, communities have identified, both through data and through their own information, that parenting and support for parents is a big issue. And what parents find in the communities is they don't get signposted. They're not quite sure where to get support, you know, how to handle stress, how to, you know, find the right kind of learning or educational opportunities for their children and all these sorts of things. So parenting groups have been established. And we're really seeing a lot of great work happening there. So those are a couple of the things. We work closely with partners around psychosocial. We have partnerships with the Victim Services Division and Grace and Star Foundation to help people who need counseling and therapy access that.
So the mental health is also a part of
huge
the
issue.
initiatives.
Yeah. And then we do a lot of work around economic development. So we piloted our employment program. And what we found is that, you know, people all ages, because STAR really looks at the whole of communities. So we're really providing employment opportunities across the board, are really able to access the kind of preparedness that they need for the workforce. We did a great program. A number of the young men from the football program, we were able to segue into a partnership with Red Stripe to do forklift training. And they all did the forklift training and they got certified and are going through placements for internships and jobs now, because we have a shortage here of forklift drivers, truck drivers, and so on. So we're seeing that they're really able to kind of pick up those opportunities. We're trying to make sure, you know, make sure that the opportunities being provided are opportunities that the community would be interested in and respond to. And so it's very much demand driven based on what the community is looking to do.
Now,
and then go ahead.
Yeah, so I wanted to just drill down on some of those economic activities, because I know Jamaicans and I applaud the young men who have taken up the opportunity to at least learn a skill. I've been in a warehouse. I know it's very demanding. I know that there are opportunities for growth within an organization that operates a warehouse. So what I'm getting at is the reception to some of these training programs. You've identified forklift training and driving as one area that you've presented, but are there other opportunities? Are there other trade skills that young people could get engaged in, and are they receptive to the training?
Yeah, I think the thing is to look at it from a different direction. So we make sure that when you're providing training, you're providing training for jobs that exist, and that you're also providing training in an area that people would be interested in.
Yes.
And so, but also, a lot of employers are saying that the issue isn't the actual technical skills of the work. They can train for the work. What they can't train for is the mindset. And that's where they need a lot of the help. So the work that we do with Heart and our other partners in terms of job readiness is really about mindset and one's ability and readiness to enter the workforce.
Yes.
We know that we have very low levels of unemployment in Jamaica, but we have a high number of people who are not even making themselves available for the workforce. Unemployment in star communities is much higher than the national average, and the available workforce within there is also much higher. And so what we have to do is make sure that we're really reaching into that pool and bringing them out and making them available for work. So job readiness is a big component, but people do feel very uncomfortable very often when they come out their communities based on how we as a society treat members of the communities that we're working in.
Yes.
And so we have to take responsibility for that. So we do have a duty of care with our employers to make sure that they understand the health, the security risks, the lack of sort of historical understanding of working environments and so on. And we try to make sure that we have a system of real support. We have social workers that work with STAR in our communities. They also provide a huge amount of support, not just to get the job, but even once the participants have received a job, they do need support on an ongoing basis for a period of time.
To stay in the positions. When you say that you have to
Yes.
work mostly on the mindset and not necessarily the buying in terms of the interest in the job, can you just tell us give us an example? So it's a mindset of getting a job because it provides you with a routine versus getting a job as a forklifter?
Forklift
No,
operator.
A forklift operator. So
Yeah.
it's important to have a mindset of getting into a routine, getting out of the house, getting something done, and not necessarily what the job is.
Correct. And it's
Okay.
it's really about accountability and being accountable, and really understanding, what your responsibilities are and how to really operate within a work environment, how to manage communication, how to deal with conflict at work.
Yes.
These are all things that are part of sort of everyday working life. And so if
That
you're
is
not
true.
prepared for these, then when it comes up, individuals have difficulty with that. So it's all those sorts of things. It's logistics. It's basic logistics around what time you get to work and what time you have to leave your house and what you have to
Yes.
factor in to do that.
Yes.
So that's what we mean. And you have people who their mindset is ready. They just need a little extra training. They just need to understand. We have partnerships with Dress for Success because you have a lot of people that won't even put themselves forward for jobs because they don't feel they have any clothing that is appropriate to go
yes.
to an interview. And so that's a barrier for them. And so again, in the job readiness, we identify who needs the additional support, who needs, proper work attire, and we get them ready to be able to go and do an interview. And respond to that. And so we think that anybody who wants a job can just go out there and get one, but it's not as simple as that for
That is
many
true.
of the communities. Access is an issue.
Nice. Now, 1 year, we're celebrating a lot of fundraising, a lot of resources behind Project STAR. Some of those announcements that you would have shared, would you like to reiterate some of the achievements that you've seen over the past year, and what is the future looking like?
Yeah. So really, we launched in July of last year, but we've really been in our first, we entered our first community a year ago, which is East Downtown Kingston. We entered SAV, our second community, 8 months ago, and we've entered Maypen, our third community, 4 months ago. And now we're looking to enter
Salt
Springs. So I think that within the space of 12 months, we've entered 3 communities. What we've also seen is a huge amount of community-led action. So, for example, we've seen, just about 30 organizations at the community level involved in project delivery activities, which is really, really important. It shows a high level of partnership and engagement. We're also seeing that there are a lot of community-led activities that are happening. And again, this is important because it shows, when you look at the sustainability of work that gets done in communities and the sustainability of change, it is very much the community activism and the kind of collective efficacy that drives that at the community level.
Yes.
And so what we're seeing community groups getting reestablished, getting activated. Many of them were dormant. And so we're seeing them really come back to life, start to get active again. We have groups that are sort of environmental groups, youth groups, parenting groups, entrepreneurship groups and business groups, really coming back to the fore and really driving the change. I think that's probably one of the most exciting components for me because that's really where you get the change and you get the sustained change.
Yes.
Is really when it's driven at the community level. So those are some of the key areas. Also the level of kind of consultation. We've had, over 1,500 people have been involved in consultation around the community planning, and really looking at what the strategies are that need to be developed and delivered. We have, about, just under 200 people that have been impacted by our entrepreneurial program, which has really just started. So we anticipate in the next year, with 3, 4, 5 communities on, we should really start to see much greater numbers there. But we're really excited around that. There's high levels of innovation and entrepreneurship within these communities. And so again, providing a system of support is going to be really, really exciting to getting the kind of results that we want to see.
Ms. Brown, we're coming to the end of the interview, but can you tell us a little bit about your Christmas donation request? I saw.
Well, we, at Project Star, you can support Project Star. You can go on our website, projectstarja.com. And you can donate to Project Star there. We print all our reports are uploaded on our website, so you can see our quarterly reports to keep track of what the project is doing. We also have a partnership with American Friends of Jamaica, AFJ, so you can go on their website, choose a cause, choose Project Star, and donate through AFJ if you're based in the US. So we welcome you to become a partner, and if you don't want to donate, still to just sign up for our newsletter. On our website, so you can continue to get information about Project Star, because we really want everybody to be part of the change, whether it's through Project Star or to continue doing the work that people do within their own communities, within their alumni, within their extended family networks. It really is about a movement that we want everybody to be part of, whether directly or indirectly, towards the advancement of Jamaica.
You guys also accept volunteers, right?
Well, we do to some extent. We don't have a formal volunteer program, but if people are interested in volunteering with STAR, then we invite them to email us at connect@projectstarja.com.
All right. Wonderful information. I am a strong advocate for getting to the root of issues, and you seem to be dealing with it just that way, getting all the stakeholders involved and addressing the root of the problem, crime and violence, getting the young people engaged, changing mindsets, changing attitudes. We applaud you and all the people behind Project Star. We're looking forward to great things from this engagement. 1 year, wonderful successes, and we look forward to more successes on your journey. Miss Brown, thank you so much for taking the time to stop by and share with us what has been happening, and we will keep in touch as Project Star continues to make remarkable change in our society.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me, and have a great, safe, joyful Christmas season.
Thank you, and to you too.
Cheers. All right, wonderful conversation. That's Miss
Safri Brown, Project Director at Project Star Jamaica.
All right.